Hey guys, and welcome to this episode of AEIOU. And that's not me talking, by the way. Anyways, for this episode, we'll teach you how to do chroma keying, also known as green screening, in After Effects. Okay, so the first thing you'll want to do is, as always, import your footage into the project panel. Just drag it there. Next is to create a composition out of your green screen footage. Before we move on, I'd just like to point out that this isn't a good green screen, mainly due to the shadows and folds on the fabric, which would give us problems later on when keying this out. So when making your own, try to go somewhere more evenly lit and leave your fabric at the laundromat first. As to say, you'll also want it to be bright and have your camera secured on a tripod. So first thing we'll want to do is to mask out the unneeded parts of the footage, which in our case is the area outside the green screen, since we wouldn't really be concerned with chroma keying that. So just mask that off with the pen tool. And with that, go to your effects and presets panel and type in key. There are a number of keying options available in After Effects, but we'll be using Keylight. So just drag that onto your footage. Now, among all these options, the very first thing you'd want to concern yourself with is the screen color. So select the eyedropper next to it and pick the color that best represents your green screen, something in between if possible. So let's say around here. You could see most of the green stuff was cancelled out, but if you, especially in the lower part of the footage, you could notice there's still some left over. So we're gonna deal with this. You'd want to change the view to screen matte, and even if you don't notice any leftover, you should still check the screen matte, as it gives you a better, clearer representation of what's being kept and what's being removed. Okay, so as you could see, so the white areas are the areas being kept, and the black areas are the areas being removed. What you'd want is to have a solid white area and a solid black area, nothing in between. So we could do this by adjusting the clip black and clip white values over here. So if you increase clip black, as you could see, it'll remove the dark areas. I'm holding control while adjusting the values for a more fine adjustment, by the way. You notice increasing the clip black would give you a more solid dark area, and increasing the clip white in the decreasing the clip white would give you a more solid white area. So what you'd want to do is play around with this until all the parts you want to keep are solid white, and the part that contains the green screen is a solid black. So as you could see, as I've said earlier, you don't want to have shadows because you'd want to have clip black as low as possible and clip white as high as possible without having any gray areas that are usually caused by shadows. Moving these things closer to each other kind of destroys your footage, which you'd see later on. So anyway, this is actually just a matter of experimenting. So the value you'd want to play around with is the screen gain as well. So okay. I went about playing with these values a bit until I was happy with what I got. Now your screen would probably be a bit rough around the edges, so I used the screen pre-blur option. What this does is it smoothens out the edges, though don't do it too much, otherwise it's gonna look fake. So this is the final result. So as you can see, there's still some noise in the footage. Well, this is because of all the excess clip black and clip white we did earlier to get rid of the shadows. So when testing out your green screen, it might also help to have a new solid right under it, a bright colored solid. That way you could better see the contrast between and easily tell if there's something that shouldn't be removed that's being removed, and vice versa. So with that, now you could import whatever it is you want behind your green screen. Now that could be a video or a photograph depending. So for our case, we'll be importing this weather map for our newscaster, and we'll just resize it accordingly. So I just moved the newscaster around in place and scaled him accordingly. Now if you created a good setup for your green screen, you should be practically done by now. But unfortunately, since in our case we didn't quite do so well, there's a few extra steps we'll have to do to clean out the noise. So what you'll need to do is, once again, click your footage, and in the effects controls panels under key light, change the view from final result to intermediate result. Now this gives us an image closer to the original one, but as you could notice, there's still some green stuff that wasn't removed, hence the name intermediate result. So some ways you could fix this is by decreasing the screen shrink or grow value, as well as increasing the screen pre-blur. So once you're good with all your adjustments, you may also want to edit your image to better fit with the background. So you could do this by editing the curves of your footage. So just drag it in right there and adjust accordingly. And once you're done with that, that's pretty much all there is to it. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope to see you next time in AEIOU.